Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Wrong to Strong Chicago. My name is Omar Calvillo, and tonight I have a special guest. His name is Andre Rodriguez, and I'd like to welcome him to our podcast. Thanks for being on here tonight, brother.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Yeah, and Andre actually brought his son. He's behind the scenes over there on the camera, doing little video shooting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's my right hand man. That's
yeah.
my producer right there.
Okay.
Yep.
Hey, you want to maybe share a little bit of what you guys are doing?
Yeah, so we're getting some footage for just kind of document the work we're doing right now. Uh I believe God got big things in store for us in the future. So we're just trying to capture, the journey. And this kind of, why we're gonna we're gonna have the cameras rolling a little more than usual, even though we have the cameras rolling a lot because of what we do. But now, there's a different purpose for why we're doing it. So that's kind of what we're doing right now with the cameras, and trying to
Okay.
capture this conversation. Start of the journey.
All right, no, yeah, thanks for doing that. I was telling my brother earlier that my wife tells me that I got a face for radio only. So this is the first time we're doing this, doing some video. But oh man, thanks for coming and doing this. Yeah, Andre, you want to tell us what part of Chicago you grew up in? Maybe what was the name of that neighborhood, and maybe if you could paint a picture of that neighborhood, for people that are not from the city.
Yeah, so I'm 45 years old, bro. So I grew up, basically like in the 80s and the 90s was the majority of my youth, and I grew up in Pilsen, 18th Street, North Lawndale, 18th to California. I went to high school with Roberto Clemente in Humboldt Park. So I got a few different life experience from different neighborhoods in the city. It would just so happen to be like some historical neighborhoods in the city as well.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely the ones you mentioned. They do have some history. But okay, you want to take us back maybe like to your early age, like what neighborhood you grew up in, and maybe if you could share how were things at home, like was mom and dad in the picture when you were growing up?
Yeah, so I grew up in Pilsen on 18th Street, like by 18th and Laughlin. Uh, from the time I was born to like maybe I was 12, 13 years old, and we moved a little bit west to Pilsen on the other side of Damon. But I think it was typical family structure back then compared to like what was around me in my environment. My parents are uh, came here from Mexico, so I'm first generation born here, and both of them working class, always at work, come home dead tired, just resting up for the next day.
Right.
So as a young kid, that meant like you had a lot of free reign. So running around the streets, just absorbing the environment, just seeing what's going on, and paying attention to everything that was going on in the streets, uh, all the creative stuff and all the stuff that wasn't as positive as well was a big influence on how I was living back then.
Okay. Okay, could you share maybe with the creative stuff? Like, what do you mean by that? Like,
Man, so in the 80s, bro, like breakdancing and hip hop was like a new thing, and it hit the neighborhood. In Chicago, always been a house music town as
right.
well. So the breakdancing kind of went hand in hand with it, and I loved it, bro. It was just like I just loved everything about it: the dancing, the music, the lyrics, the clothes. Uh, it just felt like you can express yourself and be like original as an individual. And I just loved everything about it, bro. It's just something that just like captured me.
Right. Did you ever get involved like, as far as the music, maybe
For
DJing?
sure.
Yeah. What what
Yeah,
what
for
what,
sure.
what, what kind of stuff were you doing?
We was breakdancing, bro.
Okay.
Like we were
Okay.
breakdancing, and uh I wish I could be a DJ because I was watching there was one guy on the block that had turntables, bro. And
Okay.
like back then, turntables were
Yeah.
expensive, and you couldn't
Was
just.
it techniques or?
Yeah, he had some techniques. Yep. So he had some there, and he would let a couple of the older guys come to his house. They'd be in the living room with the big speakers, just mixing. And
Yeah.
I was too little to touch them. I couldn't touch them. They're like, "Hey, stay away! Like, you're gonna mess something up over here." And so, but I remember just thinking, like, man, that's like super cool. You get to take the best parts of the song and mix them together. And so, even though I wasn't able to touch the turntables, in my mind, I was mixing. Like,
Gotcha.
so I'd go home and get my like double cassette tape recorder, and get my mom's like Buki's cassette, and put the little paper in the
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
record over
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
and just like be recording music off the radio, all my favorite songs, and then I'd go get another cassette and kind of like put my own little mixtape together back then, just mixing and kind of like in my way,
Right, right. And that's what you're the second guy that's been on here. Ahead of my man, Pastor Juan.
hmm
He told me that he used to record off like three cassette players and into one. And like, man, how do you do that? But hey,
Yeah, when
yeah,
you didn't have the double cassette, you
yeah,
actually have the two tape players in front of each other recording, and so you just you made it happen
right,
however you
right.
needed to. Yep.
Hey, man, hey, if there's a will, there's a way,
Yeah.
right? All right. So that was a creative side. Now back then, like Pilsen was pretty wild. You want to share maybe some of your experiences, maybe out there, like in the street?
Yeah, the gang culture was heavy, man, heavy. Like it was part of the environment and it was part of the community. So it wasn't really in my eyes at that age, and even the way people in my house looked at it, like we didn't look at the gang members like as bad guys, like that was just they're part of the neighborhood. I remember they used to hang out in front of my house, like on my doorsteps. There'd be like 10 of them on my doorsteps. But we never felt like intimidated. We never felt scared. Like they were respectful. We come in, like they'd move out the way, and we getting groceries out the car, they'd help and stuff like that. So that's why I never looked at it like as a negative.
Right.
It was like it influenced me. I remember back then it was like uh it was the Latin counts over there. And they used to all be wearing their black and red with their Chuck Taylors, and I thought it was cool, like a club. I was
Yeah.
like, man, I want some red chucks too. Uh, so yeah, it did have an influence on me. And I remember like I used to have like wearing my hat to the side. I didn't even know what I was doing. I
Yeah.
just put my hat to the side. And I remember one time one of the older guys like, hey, little shorty, come here, man. Let me teach you something. Like, man, look, if you wear it like this, it means this. If you wear it like this, it means that. And over here, we wear it like this. All right. So you cool wearing it like this or like this? And I was like, all right, cool. Like I didn't know,
Yeah. Yeah.
but he wasn't saying it in an intimidating way. He was just like telling me what the hat
Yeah.
what to the side meant.
Yeah. No, in Chicago, I remember with me was the Chuck Taylors, the Converse. And I remember I had like some, they were like a greenish blue. And I think I was out there by Taylor somewhere. And I didn't know, I was a kid, maybe, I don't know,
Yeah.
10, 11. Tell me about the flaps up or
The
flaps
flaps
down.
down, flaps up. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
The flap.
you want to share what that means out here? Like,
Yeah, so the Chuck Taylor's got a 5-point star. So the fin is like people and the 6-point star was folks. So it's like with the flaps down, you're covering up that star.
right.
And then people even used to write on them with the marker because they were like made out of canvas.
Yeah.
And with the flaps up, it's like you want people to see the star, so most likely like you were a people.
Right. Right.
So it like all that stuff meant something.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a different time, man. And that shoe specifically, it was definitely like iconic in the
Yeah.
city.
Yeah, definitely. I remember I used to go get mine by K's over there in California. And it was it Cermak, right?
They used to have the bootleg
Yeah,
ones.
yeah, yeah.
Then
Hey,
the
hey,
line used to be a little bit crooked sometimes.
hey, man. I remember those, man. You used to have to keep them nice and clean,
The
man.
white
Though.
wall,
Yeah,
you got to
yeah.
keep the white wall clean. Yeah,
Little spray, little brush, but
yeah.
yeah. So, anyways, yeah, okay. Like, I know you mentioned the creativity, the gangs around the neighborhood. Did you ever find yourself drawn into that lifestyle, like when you were young?
Uh, Not really, man, because I never felt like again there's always this false narrative, man, and I hate
Okay.
when politicians use it. Sometimes the police use it. Unfortunately, sometimes even like pastors, churches use it that you're being recruited. Uh, the gangs are out here recruiting, and I never seen that. I never seen nobody get recruited. Everybody that was involved, in that type of lifestyle, they volunteered for it and
Okay.
of their own will, and obviously they were welcoming whoever wanted to be a part of it. But uh, I never felt like I had to be a part of it, uh, especially at that age. So I was never like drawn to it, especially because I like going everywhere. When
Okay.
we were kids, especially when we are doing like the break dancing, or even a little bit later when it was like hip house. Uh, we'd like to go to like the whole neighborhood, and we had like a little group of guys that we're neutrons. We could walk everywhere. We'd
Yeah.
walk all the way from Devork Park all the way to Harrison Park, and like in the same day, we'd just be walking all over the neighborhood. Going and say what's up to our friends, going to different parks, and different parties and being able just to go anywhere.
Right.
And I always looked at like being in the gang, you like kind of limiting yourself and
Yeah.
putting yourself in a box. So it never really like interests me then.
Right.
Yeah.
No, you're right about that because sometimes I'll think back and I picture my life like zoomed out, like let's say a satellite looking at my
Yeah,
life, and
yeah,
now
yeah.
just going in a circle, like only certain areas that you could drive in. Now
Yeah,
I look at it, man, what a waste of my life, man, to
for
only
sure.
be limited,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. And now you mentioned the Borg Park. I remember we used to go over there. I don't know if you remember. It was like a tea crew over there.
Yeah,
Yeah, we used to go party
yeah.
over there all the time,
Yeah.
man. I used to go to Juarez, so I remember we used to, when they pulled the fire alarm,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you
yeah.
go out
The
and man,
daytime
yeah.
parties. Yeah.
So there was some
Yeah.
classics over there, man, at
Yeah.
the Warwick Park. But okay. So, anyways, you're growing up out there. You mentioned, did you go to Juarez or you said
I went
Clemente?
to Juarez for 1 year,
Okay,
and like I didn't do it. I didn't really do nothing there. And I ended up going, I had a brother that lived in Los Angeles. So I ended up going to LA, and I was over there for like half a year, and I was like, man, send me back. Like, this ain't it over here. This is just way different, bro. Like, everything's slow motion over here. You can't really walk nowhere like you can in the city. Everything's so far. Like, you need a car. And at the time, I was like, maybe what, 14, 15. So if, really didn't have no friends over there. The weather was cool, like the scenery was nice, but it wasn't home.
okay,
And they're telling me like I talk funny, and I'm telling them they talk funny, and they're over here like all interested in my clothes. Like, damn, man, like where'd you buy that at? And I was like, well, I bought it at Jewtown. Like,
yeah, yeah,
you know what Jewtown is? Like, what's that? So they're, I remember them telling me, hey, if I give you some money, you think you can have some people send me some clothes over here? Like, this is obviously before the internet and all that, but
okay, right, right, right.
th-
Amazon.
I stood out over there,
Okay,
Yeah, so and yeah, so it wasn't, I was like uh I wanted to come home. Chicago was home.
right.
Yep.
Okay, so you came back and then the Clemente from there you went.
Yeah, I went back to
Yeah.
Clement. I tried to go back to Juarez, but the principal was like, nah, you can't come back here. So I ended up going to Clemente, and just growing up in Pilsen's predominantly just Mexican.
Right.
There's one or two Puerto Ricans in the neighborhood, but going over there was like the reversal.
Okay.
It's a predominantly Puerto Rican neighborhood, so that was like uh, the culture was different,
Right.
which I loved. Again, I loved it because I kind of always felt like it was boring just to be around people that only look like you. Like, I wanted to meet like different kinds of people all the time. See what they're into, what their culture's like, or whatever. And it was cool. I liked it.
Right.
Yep.
You want to talk a little bit about that? Like there's like a tension though, right? Like
Oh,
between Mexicans and Puerto Rican. So what was your experience like? Like
for sure. So like obviously if you look at me, I'm a little bit light skinned, right? And some people can't tell right off the bat that I'm Mexican. So I would hear the comments because they wouldn't know I was Mexican. So I would hear like the comments, they're talking crazy about Mexicans, and I'm just looking, I'm like, damn, for real, what's going on? But
you start busting on them too,
no,
the
I was
Mexicans.
just I was
Like,
outnumbered. I was
yeah, right,
outnumbered.
right, right.
No, but it was weird because I was like, damn, there really is like a tension here. And the funny part was I always got this story about like the girls used to be on that too, the females, right? And they used to be talking crazy about Mexicans and stuff like that. And here, like, I never date a Mexican, this, that, and the other. So I'd end up dating them, and we end up like being together for a few weeks. And then I'd be like, hey, I thought you said you never be with a Mexican, right? Like, yeah, what do you mean? I wouldn't. I'm like, you've been with one the last 2 weeks. And then they'll be like, you're lying. Talk to me in Spanish. Let me see
Yeah,
it. And I'll
okay,
talk to them in Spanish, and they'll be like, oh, damn. Like,
there you go.
so that was funny.
There's
Yeah.
a little payback in a sense
Yeah,
that way.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Now, are there any like memories from the time period? Let's say the end that are like still in your mind. Things like, yeah, that maybe that happened during this time period that like, man, I'm never gonna forget this, or that could paint a picture of your or like the way you grew up in Chicago, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah, so around that time, man, is kind of where like I started gravitating more towards like the gang culture. Uh, because it kind of felt like that's where I fit in for some reason. It just like uh it seemed like they weren't nobody was like gonna intimidate them. Nobody was really gonna tell them what to do. And there was a lot of dudes on the street that like did prey on the weak, or prey, and weak by meaning like you don't have no backup.
Right.
And I used to hate seeing that, like, or like, that guy's nothing, bro. Like, why you bothering him? Like, you see him in the neighborhood all the time, bro. Like, why you bothering him just because you can? And I remember seeing there was a lot of guys from where I was living at the time that used to kind of be on that. So then I was like, yeah, we ain't, like, that's not gonna happen. And because if that happens to me, like, I'm not just gonna be quiet. But I was always kind of like, I like to think of myself like I always been like a thinker.
Okay.
So I was just like, well, if that happens, I'm not gonna let that fly, and I'm gonna react. And even if I get the upper hand, then the backlash back then it wouldn't have been good. So I was like, that's not gonna be a smart move. But I see like it's real probable that something like that's just it's a matter of time before it happens.
Right.
You know, uh, so I was just like, you know what? Uh, there were some guys on the next block over uh, that I was cool with, and there were SDs, and I lived in the SD neighborhood, but where I lived at was Oakley, and then the SDs on Cal were like there were SDs too, but there was like it's like two different gangs
Yeah,
almost.
yeah.
But
It's funny because same gang, but like almost like a different culture, right?
yeah,
On that side.
yeah, for sure, because it was more mixed over there. It
Right.
was more like you had everything: Mexicans, blacks, Puerto Ricans. It was like kind of like where Pilsen and North Lawndale meet. And again, I liked it. It was different. It was different, culture. And what I like the most about it is that none of the guys in Oakley gonna just come push me around because now they can't.
Right.
They'll get disciplined back then.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right?
Right.
Uh, so that's kind of like how I ended up just getting involved in gangs. But even when I was like a member, I wasn't out here just trying to hurt people for no reason.
Right.
I wasn't over here just kind of like on some gang banging stuff. Like I was still just like it was almost like a strategic move. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? It was just in like I'm just down for the mob and I'm just gonna crash out, and if I see a king, it's on sight. And I used to see kings in traffic, and the guys would just be like in my car, like, oh look. I'm like, bro, we going over here, they're going over there. As long as they don't come this way, it's
Right. Right.
cool.
Right.
Like you want to do some goofy stuff, do it when you're in your car. Don't do it in my car. So, and for the most part, like they respected it because
Right.
they knew it wasn't because I was scared.
Right.
Because there was some times where like we were kind of cornered, and they seen kind of like how we got down, so
Right.
they already know like Drain, he ain't scared.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just don't want no trouble. You know what I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
saying?
Right. Right.
So they already kind of knew already. After a while, they knew kind of like what to expect if they're gonna be around where I'm around. You know,
Gotcha.
if they were my guys, because
Right.
I feel like I had the right to kind of dictate like what the environment's supposed to be like. Like we're gonna protect ourselves to the fullest, but we ain't out here just like on some predator shit. Like
Okay.
we're just we're just out here. It's Chicago, bro. It's
Yeah.
dangerous.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You gotta be vigilant and be ready because just because you're on that, you might run into somebody that's what they're on. They're just
Yeah.
trying to hurt you, so you got to be ready for that as well. Uh, so yeah, man, it was that time period for me where I was just kind of getting like involved in the street when I think I was 15 years old. Uh, I ended up catching like two attempt murders, and I ended up going to the audio home, and luckily nobody died.
Okay.
And what do you call it? It was like I said, bro. Chicago was different back then. Like it was a lot of stuff was kind of like handled on the street.
Right.
Even like the consequences. You didn't want nobody going to jail, even if it was your ops. Like you wanted to handle that. So the guys that I shot, they went to court a few times and then they stopped going.
Okay.
It's like they went just to see my face and to see who I was because they wanted to catch me on the street.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they stopped going. When they stopped going to court, they had to drop those charges. And that was my first case. I was 15 years old. So I ended up just getting probation for the guns because I got caught. Like I did it in front of the cops, bro. Like the cops were like hidden somewhere, and they seen the whole thing happen, and
Man,
it was crazy. Yeah, so
did they grab you right away? Like
right
right?
away, yeah, we got in a high speed chase. We're in a stolen car and ended up crashing, and we got caught, and yeah, so I caught a blessing, bro, for real. First of all, that nobody got killed,
Right,
and then again, like these guys decided like not to go to court, and so they let me out in a few months. When they dropped the charges, they just gave me like a couple years probation. Uh, and so now it was like now I'm like this 15-year-old in the neighborhood, but I'm not like a typical 15-year-old. The older guys like no,
right.
like leave him alone. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
don't bother him. He ain't bothering nobody, and he gonna take care of his business if he has to. And the reason I even did that the night before, I was on a payphone. Back then they had the
yeah,
payphones, and
right,
I was answering the page off my pager because I was out there hustling.
right,
And I was on a payphone, and these dudes like they came out of alley, bro. Two dudes in ski masks, and just like they aired me out. Like they aired me out, like they that shit that it was felt like everything felt like it was in slow motion, but it felt like it took like half an hour. It probably took like 30 seconds, but it felt like it was a half
right,
an
right.
hour, and I could literally like hear the bullets whistling past me, bro, smacking the steel off the street pole, hitting the car like that I dove behind, and after like the fear wore off, like I just had like a rage, bro. Like
Yeah.
these dudes just try to take my life, and I know who they are.
Oh yeah.
So like I know where they came from, because only them dudes come out of that alley.
Gotcha.
So so I went back the next day, and that's when I got caught. Like, so again, it wasn't just because I like let's just go over there and shoot
Right,
at
right.
somebody. I feel like uh, I needed some payback, but I was 15 years old, bro. Doing some dumb stuff,
Yeah.
but at the time I thought it was like righteous, but looking back at it, was just like it was stupid.
Right. No, yeah, yeah. Definitely paints a picture of how things were over there, man.
Yeah, yeah,
That's way out. And like you mentioned, man, a lot of times it's like that anger, that rage, man. Like you almost took my life, like man, and the mentality back then. You want to talk about your mentality back then? Like, how did you view those things? I mean,
yeah. I mean, I just feel like you had to let people know they can't get away with certain stuff. Because the streets like were so aggressive, and even I think now still, bro. Like I said, people prey on weakness,
right,
right? So I just always feel like, man, I always feel like you're gonna avoid problems by handling things. Like if you handle that situation, that might have prevented 10 more situations because now they know like how you handled that last situation.
right,
And it was messed up, but that was my mind state back
right.
then. Like anybody that plays with me, I gotta let them know you can't play with me. You know, go play with somebody else.
Yeah,
Leave me alone.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And like I said, I never felt like I was the one looking for trouble. There was a lot of times, bro, like where like I said, we'd be in traffic, and I'd have a gun in the car, and we'd see somebody from like a rival gang in traffic, and I got my homie with me. He's all excited, like, "Oh, we got one, we got
yeah,
one."
yeah,
I'm like, "Man, sit your ass down, bro. Like, we ain't got nothing." You know what I'm saying? Like, because I had already, I went to jail at
yeah, yeah, yeah.
15, so I feel like I caught a blessing. So
Right.
I thought about it more.
Yeah,
So I was like, "Nah, bro. Like, no, there's always the chance that we can go to jail for this."
yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, nah, like our life is not in danger. We can make a left turn right here, and we go about our day,
yeah, yeah.
or we could go do something stupid, and probably the rest of our life could change. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So I was always like uh, like a balance. I was always trying to
Yeah.
keep. I always first and foremost like try to avoid situations.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was never like no tough guy. Like I always know that there's somebody tougher than you. There's somebody crazier than you. There's
yeah,
somebody willing to throw their whole life away. And are you ready to match that energy?
yeah.
You know, and obviously, like if I didn't have a choice, no, like if I didn't have a choice, I'm gonna match that energy.
Right.
But if I got a choice, I'm not gonna. I'm cool, bro. Like I'll go this way.
Gotcha.
Like you won that one. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, yeah,
I got to keep living. Like
yeah. Definitely, man. No, that's a good way to put it. as far as like the mindset back then. Obviously
Yeah.
it's not like that now. But so yeah, so you're like what, 16, 17 now around this time.
Yep.
So what else do you find yourself getting into, or like I guess as you're getting older, do you still remain there? Does anything happen that to change that as far as you being out there?
As I got older, I started focusing more on getting money. So I started like hustling and just like I said, I was in high school already, bro. Like, I had nice car, nice clothes. Uh, Again, in school, even I said I'm a Clemente pulling up like in a box Chevy with 30 sounds, and I had like a clean Chevy. I didn't have like a, primered one or nothing like
Okay, yeah,
that.
right.
So it was a different, because there's some
Yeah,
people that had the, the Chevy,
you can
but
see
that
all the
it was
indentations.
barely making it. Like, they're happy. It's their first
Yeah.
car, but no, I'm pulling up like I got adults looking at my car, like trying to buy it off me. But, so I kind of figured out how stuff worked on the street when it came to getting money. And I just started like, making my little moves or whatever. And uh, I think I was always like mature for my age. So the older dudes used to kind of like talk to me like I was one of them.
Okay.
They ain't never treated me like a shorty, because of the way I carried myself and because of the kind of moves I was making out there. So yeah, I mean that just kind of started like getting more and more serious and
Right.
getting deeper and deeper into that, to where eventually, like when I got into my like 20s, I ended up catching a fed case, a drug
Right.
conspiracy, and I ended up doing 10 years in federal prison uh, for that. Yep.
Man, you want to share like how that happened? Maybe like right before they grabbed you, did you know that you were being watched, or they just happened out of nowhere? Or
Yeah, so I did know. I did know I was being watched, because some things that were happening around me. Uh, they tried pulling me over one time. So I had been under surveillance already for like a few months. I didn't know. They had like tracking devices on my car, and
nice.
like you get to like see all your discovery once you're locked up. And, so I would keep losing my trail to whoever they had trailing me, because I'm always driving fast. Again, and it's crazy because in my mind, when you talk about mindset, when I'm driving, it's like I always used to be practicing just like getting away either from the cops or like from the ops. So I'm swerving,
That
making
was
sure.
on a regular.
Yeah, it was just like
Gotcha.
almost like practice, like never box myself in, and
Yeah.
just always like looking around. So that's just the way I drove. Like at a yellow light, I'm not slowing down.
Right.
I'm going through and I'm paying attention to somebody blow the light with me, and
Oh yeah,
yeah, yeah.
definitely, yo.
So I'm like watching everything, bro. So they couldn't keep up with me without blowing their cover. So that's why they had to like get a court order for the tracking devices. So they tried pulling me over once. I had just served somebody, and I was like, I was on the north side, and I was like in this low key car, bro, a brand new car that I just got out the dealer. No rims, no nothing, no tints. It was low key, and they tried pulling me over, and I was like, nobody knows me over here. Like, why are they pulling me over? I didn't blow a light, nothing. I wasn't speeding, like nothing, and I still had some drugs on me. And right there in the moment, I was just kind of like, I had been through the system so much already. I had prior to that, like I had got caught a bunch of gun cases, and but most of the time I would beat them because I know the system now. Like I know the
Okay.
laws, and you can't just search my car for no reason, And they used to do that all the time, like
Right. Oh
pull you
yeah.
over, get you out the car, and just search it, illegal search and seizure. So, I would go to the county and get charged with the gun, and but then in court, my lawyer will beat it. So I'm already thinking like I got these drugs on me. They're gonna lock me up for the drugs, but I could beat it.
Okay.
But I was like, man, it's Saturday. I don't want to have to spend 4,000 on a lawyer again, and they're gonna impound my car. There's gonna be like another 1,000, and I'm processing all this as
That's
they're
crazy.
in a narco, so they're walking up to my car, and I put the car in neutral. I didn't put it in park, so they could see I let my foot off the brake. When they walked up to the car, they're like, "Hey, get out the car," and I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Get out the car," and I put it in drive, and I took off. I took off on them. I'm driving like on the wrong side of the street. I'm way up north, like on Addison and Kedzie, and I ditched them.
Okay.
But then I was like, bro, that's weird. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So I was just like, I'm already knowing the kind of stuff we're dealing with. Uh, I just knew it was a matter of time. We're dealing with too many people, and we're like moving a lot of weight. So I'm just thinking like it's a matter of time before something bad happens.
Right.
Uh, so I was just like, but maybe I'm just being paranoid. Maybe it's just regular cops that who knows what the hell they seen, and I'm just overthinking. So like a month later, I'm leaving like a stash house that nobody knows about. Nobody, none of my friends, nothing. And I'm leaving. I got some work in a book bag, and as I'm driving on the side street, like northwest side of the city, like complete opposite area from where I'm from, uh, a narc car hits the lights behind me, and I'm like, shit, this got to be the feds. So then the car goes around me, and it was a blizzard. It was snowing real hard. He goes around me, and I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, he's going on another call, but there was another car behind him, and the cop car like blocked me in
Right.
because I guess they know like last time I took off on him. So this time, I'm in the same car, the new car. They blocked me in, but he left me like a little gap. So I just like ran my way through it because I had like 5 bricks in the bag, bro.
Oh.
Like, so I was just like, I gotta get out of here. Like, I gotta get rid of this. So, I took off, and back then they had the Crown Vics.
Right.
It's a lot of snow on the ground, and those are rear wheel drive. So
Okay.
they like floored it. When they floored it, their whole car spin like in the opposite direction. And I got front wheel driving. Like I didn't panic. I didn't floor it. I'm just
Right.
like I'm hitting like boom, boom. Like every time I felt the wheels
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
spin
Yeah.
out, I let go of the gas. I didn't want to lose control. So on the north side they got those little cul-de-sacs in the middle. So I was going around them, and once I seen I had enough distance between them, I tossed the bag. So now I'm driving, and I'm picking up more speed. And as I'm going around these things, I'm like, I know my car's gonna slide, but like as long as I don't crash head on, I don't care. Like I just gotta keep going forward. So sure enough, my car starts like sliding. I'm banging against cars like a pinball, like boom, boom. I go to look at my rearview mirror, bro. It's gone. It's like hanging, like my brand new car was
Right.
just tearing it up. And I didn't care. I just need to get away from that bag. So I ended up like driving like 6, 7 more blocks. I tried to make a turn. I finally like crashed head on into a parked car. I turned and the car just like slid in the snow. So I just jumped out the car, bro, left the car door open. I ran, I hit a bunch of gangways. I jumped fences, and I ended up being under somebody's gangway. And I called my homie, and I was like, hey, bro, like, I could see the alley. In Chicago, they got the addresses on the garbage
Oh
cans.
yeah. Right.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the garbage can. I'm like, hey, bro, like, come get me. I'm over here. And he's like, all right, I'm on my way. So then I'm just waiting for him to come get me. And as I'm waiting, I hear like a bunch of radios, like getting closer and closer. And I hear like a lot of radios, bro, like a lot of police radios. Then I see like uh, one of the cops. I see him in the alley. I'm looking at him. He doesn't see me. And then I hear him like on the radio. He's like, hey, he got to be around here somewhere. This is the address he gave. And I was
What?
like, oh shit, my phone's tapped.
Man.
But they didn't know that I heard.
Right.
So eventually, like they were going gangway by gangway, and
Yeah.
then they finally found me, threw me in the back of the car. They didn't find the bag.
Okay.
Yeah, it don't matter no more because statute of limitations. Like that was,
Okay.
that was like 17 years ago.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
I learned a lot about the law when I was locked up. but but
you,
yeah,
you, you
so
said that was your book bag with books
yeah, with
from
my
school,
books,
right?
yeah, yeah. So so they threw me in the back seat, and there, then the agents came, and they jumped in like an agent, one on each side, and they're like, "Man, we got you, right?" So I'm thinking like they had kicked the door in over there at the safe house
Okay.
and found everything, bro. Because I had like 40 more over there.
Man.
Like it was like, oh man, like I'm be gone for a few decades,
Right.
and I'm just like, I knew this was a possibility. You know
Right.
what I'm
Right.
saying? So in my mind, again, I'm already processing like I'll be home in 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I was thinking,
Right.
bro.
Right. Right.
They're like, "What's up with your homies?" And we got you. You need to help yourself, and blah blah blah. And I told him, bro, like, man, look, like, you're not gonna talk to us. I'm like, man, only person I want to talk to is my lawyer. So they're like, who's your lawyer? And everybody's lawyer back then was Joe Lopez. You know what I'm saying? So
Right,
I'm
right,
like, Joe Lopez, and he's like, oh, good lawyer. I will see you in court. And
right.
they walked out the car. They took me to the police station. They wrote me like 3 traffic tickets, bro. And they let me go.
What?
And I was like, I just had the whole Grand and Central chasing me,
Right.
and they just let me walk out the station. Like,
So you already knew, like,
it's the feds. So now I'm just waiting. That was the last day I sold any type of drugs.
okay,
That was the last day. Whatever I had, I gave it away.
right,
If you owe me some money, don't worry about it. And I'm telling my homies because they're hitting me up like they need some work. Like, hey, come holler at me, bro. Like, they come, and I told them like, hey, look, this is the situation. I'm hot, bro. Like, stay away from me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what's going on.
right, right,
I don't know when they come to get me, bro, but they're on me. You know what I'm saying? And it's pretty much over with. So I waited almost a year, bro, before they came and got me. And I guess they were waiting to see if I kept on making some moves. Again, they didn't know that I heard them. So they
right.
didn't know that I knew.
Gotcha.
And so the way the phone taps work, every 30 days they got to go in front of the judge and like give them evidence why they need to continue this phone
Okay.
tap.
Right, right,
So their time was running out and they were getting like a little desperate. There was this female that I used to serve, and she had like a white collar job. She was a white girl. So they approached her and probably thinking they're gonna scare her and be like, hey, look, we know you buy like large amounts of drugs from this guy, and we know this isn't your lifestyle. Like, you can still like turn your life around. And all we need you is to like make a buy from him, and uh and so you can help yourself.
right.
Out of everybody that I was dealing with at the time, bro, she was the most gangster one out of everybody. Cause she sent her friend to come holler at me. She like, hey, look, because they told her like, don't reach out to him or nothing.
Right,
She
right,
still did. And her friend told me, look, they approached her. This is what they told her. She just wants you to know, bro. She's gonna take her weight. Whatever she got coming, she's gonna stand strong. So you ain't gotta worry about her. But watch yourself. They're on you. They're trying to get somebody to set you up.
right.
So then I knew like, oh, like they're still
Yeah.
trying. They're
Oh,
still
yeah.
working. So fast forward like almost a year later, 6 o'clock in the morning, bro, they showed up at my house. This guy was 1 year. He was a baby. He was a 1 year old. So 6 o'clock in the morning, they came and grabbed me. And man, I made it home 10 years later.
Man,
Yeah, yeah.
10 years. So, man, it's straight. Like, I
Yeah, 10
mean,
years straight. Yep.
man, that's
Yeah.
crazy. You want to tell us that experience? Like, maybe I know you mentioned being like that they grabbed you before, but you were probably in and out of the station. Did you ever do any time like previously to this?
Nah, bro. I never even made it up to a deck in the county.
Okay,
I went to the county multiple times, but I always had bond money.
right,
And like again, as soon as I got locked up, I got in my car and be like, hey, show up to court tomorrow with $5,000. Like, I always told that was like the number. Just bring 5,000 to court.
right.
And so I always had bond money, and I always got, always bonded out. So I never got even the chance to make it up to the county. Like,
Okay,
ever since the Audi home, that was the only time like I had to spend some time in jail. But as an adult, I never had to spend like a night in the county. I never
right.
did no state time. Uh, but this time it was different. It was the feds, like, yeah, it ain't that easy.
No, right, right. And once they got
They
you, really,
got me,
right?
yeah. And then my lawyer was kind of like try to fight to get me a bond. And I asked him, I'm like, can you beat this case? And he's like, no, I can't beat it. I could probably try to get you like the least amount of time. I'm like, well, if you can't beat it, like, I don't want to bond out. I want to start doing my time already.
Okay, right,
I don't
right.
want to be out there. Like, I want to hurry up and get home. And
Yeah, yeah,
I might as well start knocking this time out, even though I didn't know that I was gonna get that much time. Because I ended up getting like a 15-year sentence.
right.
I ended up coming home because Obama changed the federal
Oh
drug
yeah.
drug sentencing law, so I came home a few years earlier.
Oh no way.
Yep,
Yeah, I actually have somebody else that I knew that got out right around that same time when
yeah,
Obama changed that.
yep.
Okay, man, no, that's good.
Shout
So
out, shout out Obama.
that's some good stuff he did right there
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah,
you.
yeah. I ain't mad at him.
You want to tell us maybe let's say the first few days how was that like for you? Like, man, you just went in. What was your experience like? I guess if you want to.
Yeah, first let me tell you
Yeah, go ahead.
let me tell you a little bit uh before I ended up getting locked up, right? So like it was a dark time for me, bro, because it's like my whole life was spinning because I didn't know what was gonna happen.
How old were you at this time, at
I
this
was
point?
28 years old.
Okay.
So my main source of income was gone. And I had a family I'm supporting. Uh I don't trust the people around me. I'm already knowing how people think. Like I could have brought a lot of people down with me,
Okay.
you know? And so I'm already knowing I'm putting myself in their shoes. Like, like again, I've always been a thinker,
Right.
sometimes overthinking, but I'm like, they might want to play it safe and just get me out the way. You
Gotcha.
know what I'm saying? So, and I was just like, should I just beat them to the punch and get them out the way? So it was dark for me, bro. It was
Yeah.
just like I didn't know where to go. And his grandmother uh ended up inviting me to church, bro,
Okay.
like right before Christmas. And it was at New Life at Midway.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What year was this?
This was 2000. They had just opened up over there. It was 2005.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I don't even remember what the pastor said, but he said something that hit me, bro. And I was like I was supposed to hear that. I'll be back next week. So I started going to church.
Oh, no way.
I was like, I'm lost.
Yeah.
Like I'm lost. I don't know what to do. And I grew up like most people in the neighborhood, like almost by tradition, you're Catholic, right?
Yeah, yeah, right.
So they used to force me to go to church, and so like I always knew about God, and
Right.
like I believed in God. I just never was like into church. So when I was there, like I said, I just started coming back. Like I'm lost, bro. I'm just looking for some direction, and uh, so I'm going to church every day. I got my whole family going, and then I end up getting picked up. So then even some people in my family, they were like, because I would tell them, bro, you still like you got to keep going to church, keep
Okay.
praying for me, and like they were. And then after I got sentenced and I got all that time, I was telling you still got to keep going.
Okay.
You still got, and they're like, for what, man? We win, and look, you still got all this time, and I'm like, it doesn't matter, like you got to keep going.
Okay.
So now I'm just in my mind, I always knew like there's a reason I'm going through all this. Like there got to be a purpose. Like what's because it didn't make any sense to me.
Okay.
Like why is he letting me like go through this and experience this? Why didn't he just like let me die or like uh I don't know, like why didn't he
Yeah.
just like save me from this to begin with, and why didn't he wake me up? And it doesn't make any sense, but I trust it's supposed to mean something.
Yes.
And they didn't understand it, and so obviously like now I'm away. And so uh like I'm glad that that happened before I got locked up, because I even used to ask myself, like, man, I just started going to church. Like, I really was trying to change. Like, I wanted to leave who I was behind, and I got to go through this.
Right.
So, but I was again, I didn't lose faith. I was just like, this is gonna mean something one day.
Gotcha.
I don't know what, but it's gonna mean something. So I'm just kind of like, going. Uh, it helped me a lot, bro. It helped me a lot to get through those whole 10 years. It would have been rough.
Okay.
It was rough, but it would have been rougher because that's what I held on to. And like I held on to that, just to that hope that like this is gonna be something good one day. Like something good is gonna come from this.
Gotcha.
Even though it felt like my life kept continuing to fall apart, even when I was in there. Family members like uh, just like having personal struggles of their own and can't do nothing.
Right.
I was married at the time and ended up getting divorced. Obviously, like I'm not there no more.
Right.
And all of that stuff was like just painful to go through, and it's just like slow motion. You're going through it in slow motion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like you can't run from it. You just got to deal with it every day, and just kind of like almost like a mental, like almost torture sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially like again, I like to think a lot, and that's almost like torture, bro.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes I want to stop thinking and I can't, and I'm just thinking of everything, just rewinding my whole life, bro. Like how
Yeah.
did I end up? How did I even end up here? Like what could I have done different? Where'd I go wrong? And uh, what move was I supposed to
Yeah.
make? And just thinking like that, and then just it got to the point where I stopped thinking about how I got there, and I started thinking about how am I going to move forward, and then that just became like a whole nother thought process. Just I started rebuilding my life in there
Okay.
in my mind. You know what I'm saying, and in my heart, obviously, like uh, just planning on how I was going to move when I got out.
Okay.
Not what I was going to do specifically, but the type of person that I needed to be. You
Gotcha.
know, so and that was a challenge, and I always knew like the real test was going to be when I came home. It's easy to say,
Right.
never going to do this again. Like it's easy to say that when you don't have the opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
So, uh, and I just kind of like uh, navigated those 10 years, bro, and just worked on myself. And again, I kept my faith, bro, and just leaned on it heavy, like super heavy. And that's what like I tell people. I don't push like my beliefs on nobody that I'm around, but they
Right.
see it. I don't hide it either,
Okay.
you know. And it's funny because it makes them more curious. Uh, when I go to church on Sunday, and I'll post something, right, like,
Okay.
and I'll get questions like random. Hey, bro, you be going to church? So what is that, bro? Like, what is it like?
Right.
And I'll be like, you ain't gonna like it, bro. It's boring. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you mean, man? Like, I'm gonna go with you one day.
Okay.
I'm like, all right, man. But look, when I'm going to church, bro, like that's my time, bro. Don't come to church if you're not gonna come to church. Like,
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So
Trying to hang out.
almost like on some like reverse psychology type
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like I really want them to come.
Yes. Yes, sir.
But like yeah, it's funny. Definitely.
Okay. So, man, you did your 10 years. What you want to tell us that first day back, man? How was that for you?
The first day back, bro, was you ever seen the movie Planet of the Apes, the one with Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah.
Where like he's in the Planet of the Apes and he's fighting to get back to Earth, and then he finally makes it back at the end of the movie,
Right.
and he lands like in Washington D.C. or something. And he gets surrounded, and he's like, "I'm back home," but then he comes back home and it's like it's still the Planet of the Apes. Like it's a different world.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was kind of like that, bro. I'm thinking like I'm finally gonna make it back home after all this time, and I get back home, bro, and nothing feels the same. Everything feels different, man. Everybody looks different. Everybody acts different. Even like my family, they were just different people. And uh, it didn't feel like I got home. It felt like I was still lost. And it was just like it was a scary feeling for me because I didn't know. It's like I still didn't know where I was at.
Okay.
I'm looking around like, my son, he's like 11 now, but he doesn't really know me. My daughter, she told me straight up, like, man, I don't feel comfortable around you. I've been gone 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked on the phone, but it's different. I can
Yeah. Oh,
just
yeah.
pop up in their life. And, my mom was like mentally was different. My parents had separated while I was gone. Uh, so I'm looking at like the woman that used to be my wife. She's not my wife no more. Like everything just felt
Yeah.
weird,
Yeah.
bro. And it was just, I didn't know what anxiety was, and like I was having like almost like nervous breakdowns.
Yeah.
And I'm telling them people like, man, I need to go talk to somebody. Like I feel like my whole body just wants to shut down. And
Yeah.
and bro, like they told me like, oh, you don't have no history of like mental illness, so we can't send you to a counselor or nothing. And I was like, bro, like what do I need to do? Like hurt somebody so I can get some help? Like
Yeah.
I'm asking you for some help. And again, bro, like I started getting passes to go to church.
Okay.
So I started going to church. So the halfway house was in Humboldt Park. And I used to go to like I was going to New Life back then, but so there's a New Life over there. It's the different one, but it's like still New
Yeah.
Life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I started going there, and I ended up bumping into one of my friends that I went to high school with at Clemente. He
Okay.
was there, and uh, I bumped into him at church, and then like when it was just like a quick "What's up? Hey, what's up, Dre? Like, man,
Right,
glad
right.
to see you home." And I'm staying kind of away from everybody because I don't know
Yeah.
who's on what. And
Right, right.
I bumped into him again at the DMV, and he's over there like trying to get his license together. Then one day I'm at the barber shop. I bump into him coming out the barber shop, so I keep bumping into him. And by this time, I'm out of the halfway house now, and I'm telling him like I kind of want to get into the routine of going to church again, but I don't want to go by myself because it's like I don't really know nobody.
Right.
So I told him like, man, I see you be going to church, bro. Like, and he's like, yeah, man, like I go all the time, and I'm like, man, I want to go. I just don't want to go by myself. And he's like, bro, come with me. Like, come with me. And I ended up like going with him every week. And then, his he was going through a personal situation. So he was kind of like living by himself with his son. He was taking care of his son because his wife was going through some stuff legally. And uh, so I was able to come over a lot.
Okay.
And he was like a real positive influence on me at the time because, he's into the word. He's giving me a lot of positive feedback, bro. Like, they say like he's filling your cup,
Yeah.
like
Oh, yeah, yeah.
uh so that relationship helped me a lot, bro. Just kind of like getting kind of settled in and getting like even a little bit more calm and then I ended up meeting the person that's my wife now. And that was like big game changer.
Okay.
Like I ended up moving in with her. And when I moved in with her, her family embraced me, man, treated me like family. And at that time, it finally felt like, man, I'm home now.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because even like my mom was, she was in foreclosure. So her and my brother like had to go get an apartment. My dad's with his new wife. So it's uncomfortable over there. So
Right.
it was a weird time for me, bro. Like, uh, and like I said, when I moved in with my wife, bro, I felt like I'm home. I got a home now. So
Gotcha.
now I can really start rebuilding.
Right.
So it was a blessing, man. Yeah.
Okay. So, man, you got with her and you guys got married, you said?
Yeah, yeah. We ended up getting married. We got a kid. My youngest son, he's 4 years old. So, we ended up getting married at City Hall. And then when I was going to church at St. Paul, like I got a really good relationship with the pastor over there. So he's
Okay.
like, so when you gonna get married? I'm like, what do you mean I'm married already? Like, nah, when you gonna get married for real? So then I was just like, man, Father Mike, I'm not trying to have no big old wedding, man.
Right.
Like, I'm like, look, if you open a church for me like on a Wednesday evening, I'm gonna bring like 10 people. And if you're willing to come and just marry us real quick, like we'll do it like that. And he's like, all right, what day you want to get married? So I picked the date, we showed up about 10 deep,
No
so
way.
he married us. Then we went and have like a small dinner
Right, right.
afterwards. And now we're married through the church as well. So
Oh, nice, nice, man. That's
yeah.
good, man. Yeah, I've only done the city hall, man. Now you can put me on the spot, man. I hope my wife don't hear this,
Yeah, you gotta go handle that.
No, yeah, 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 definitely, man. So, from marriage, what? I know you mentioned when you were in there, you said there's certain things you wanted to change about yourself.
Hmm.
Like, did you begin to apply those things now? Like, or like, I guess what changed? You got married, and what the direction did your life take now?
Yeah, I didn't realize how many people that I hurt before,
Okay.
like emotionally. I was, back then when you're younger, like having being with multiple women was like, glorified. And I never really considered like what I was doing to the people that I was with for selfish reasons, like emotionally. It wasn't until like, somebody ended up leaving me, uh, because I'm locked up, that I seen what that felt like.
Gotcha.
And I was like, it never even crossed my mind, bro. Like, damn, I probably made these other women feel like how I'm feeling. Like they had feelings for me, and I would just like cut them off, and move on to the next one. And I was just like, I don't never want to make nobody feel like that. Like, I never want to make nobody feel the way this feels,
Right.
intentionally. Like, that's not right. And then just the way you like just treat the way you treat people and the way you handle things, like, just grew up handling stuff like the street way, whether like intimidation, violence, or whatever. And I just knew that that couldn't be me no more. Like I can't. I'm gonna end up back in jail.
Right.
Like if somebody like disrespects me or whatever, like I can't go upside their head.
Right.
Like
Right.
I can't handle things that way no more. So I got to figure out like how to not even put myself in those positions. And even if I'm in them positions, like I gotta learn how to walk away
Yeah.
and swallow my pride. And who cares if people think I'm a pussy?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's not about that no more.
Right.
Like I got to be home. Like if I do one more bit, I'm gonna lose my family for real.
Yeah.
My kids, and it's over with. They're gonna be adults living their own lives, and I might never get a chance to like build a relationship with them again. And so that was more important to me than any type of prideful situation. So, and jail's humbling, bro.
Yeah.
It's humbling. Like when you come out again, like I was living good when I left, and I came home to nothing, bro. Like I think I had like $200 on me that I had
Right.
saved when I was locked up. And then I was working as a janitor, bro, making like $9 an hour, and catching the bus to work, and then when I got a job to where like the bus didn't run to, I had to like ask my dad if I could borrow. He had an old ass Astro van that he had parked in front of the house. Like, hey, does that van work? He's like, yeah. Like, let me use it. And the way people see me
Yeah.
from before there, how they're looking at me like, damn, like Dre fell off.
Yeah.
And that humbles you
Yeah.
because they kind of know who like you used to be. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like I see that look. I know what that look
Oh
means.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They're
Right.
because they're still in the life,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
still and like in their nice car or whatever, and it takes a lot for you not to care
Right.
about what they
Yeah.
think. And but jail took all that away, bro. Like, man, I don't even care what they think, bro. I'm just
Right.
trying to survive.
Yeah.
Like I'm just trying to make it. Like I don't care. It doesn't I don't nobody was worried about me for 10 years. So I don't care what they
Yeah.
think about me no more. So doesn't matter. What they think about me doesn't matter at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely, man. Yeah, that definitely changes your mindset too towards them, man. Like, man, you begin to see like who's real, who's not, and what's worth it or not.
Yeah.
So you get out now. That I know you mentioned making like $9 an hour. It never, like, let's say when these guys still see them, with their nice stuff, money. That they ever like come at you like, hey man, let me help you out. I know you're struggling, or
Yeah, bro.
trying to bring you back in. I guess in a sense.
Yeah, so being locked up for so long, you seen people like leave and come back. And I used to I used to be like super judgmental, bro. Like, man, you stupid as hell,
Yeah.
bro. Like you got to leave here and then you back? Like, bro, you're tripping. Like, you gotta be crazy. When I came home, I'm like, nah, I understand.
Yeah.
Like, I understand why, because it feels like there's no other way. You can't make it.
You know,
Can't make it just doing, especially when you don't have no support. So there was a friend of mine that, he approached me and he was like, man, Dre. And it's weird, bro, because it's like you get tested,
yeah.
right? I had a friend of mine that uh he's still kind of in the life or whatever, and he used to pick me up, take me to go grab something to eat. He even bought me some clothes when I came home. And he was doing all right for himself, but he's doing street shit, and he just mentions it. He just mentions it like not towards me, but he's telling me about a situation he's in. Like, man, this dude owes me some money, man, and he's trying to play me. He's trying to pay me with some like some black tar, like some heroin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but the tar stuff, not the powder. Like, and and I'm like, man, I don't want that. I don't even know who needs that. This, that, and the other. And he's just like,
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of like just breaking down what's going on in this day. So then I got another friend that I ended up, bumping into, and I ended up coming over his house, and then he's talking, and he's like, man, Dre, like he had just came home a few years earlier,
Okay.
and he's like, man, he still had a good relationship with his connect, and his connect, he's like, man, I'm about to get some work from him, uh, and he's like, man, Dre, I got a mean whip game, like I know how to whip this stuff up, man. If I knew somebody that had some black tar, bro, oh, I'll be on. And I was like, what do you mean? So he starts telling me how like he can break down one brick and turn it into like three or something and some crazy, right? And make like triple the profit.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so then I told him, I was like, because again, I was like, I was in a bad spot, like I couldn't support myself. And I'm in the halfway house still, like I'm always I'm gonna ask the halfway house people if I could stay longer because it's like I don't got really nowhere to go where I
Oh
know I'm
yeah.
not gonna get kicked out or
Right.
I can't afford the rent. So then I'm like, what do you mean? And then he tells me, I was like, man, I might know somebody that got some. Man, what, his eyes lit up. Dre, bro, like, man, make it happen. Like, we'll be straight. And we ain't gotta do this for a long time. We'll set a number, bro. We reach that number, we'll stop. Like, man, what's the number? Dre, tell me the number right now. 100,000, 200,000. And I was like, damn, how long would it take us to make that much money? He's like, bro, we can make that like in a month. And I'm thinking to myself, man, with $100,000, I can go get my apartment.
Yeah.
I go get my car. I can put furniture in that apartment. Like, I'll be okay. I'll have some breathing room. So then I'm thinking like, all right, well, let me see, man. I'm thinking about it. So now he's like, man, Dre, hell yeah, bro, we're gonna be straight. This, that, and the other. He's painting the pretty
Yeah,
picture
yeah.
for me. So at this time, my daughter's working she's working a job at a grocery store. And I used to like pick her up and again, just trying to bond with her again. I'm like, man, what time you get off work? Me, I'll pick you up. And that was kind of like my job for the week, picking her up from work. And I'm telling her, I'm having a conversation with her on the drive home, how like, man, life's not fair, man. Like I'm here, I am like going to work every day, trying to do the right thing. Like this almost sounds cliche, bro, but like you going to work, you're doing the right thing and can't even make it. It feels like I'm drowning. And I seen this guy at the light the other day that I used to know, and man, he's living good, and I know he's doing everything you're not supposed to be doing. And then she kind of like got like a scared look in her face, and she told me, she's like, you're not gonna do that again, are you? And then I'm like, nah. And then she's like, man, you ain't gotta do that. Like I'll take care of you. She like, don't worry about it. Even when you get old, like I'll take care of you.
Mm.
And then she just like reached over, bro, and hugged me. And like we hadn't even had that type of like that, like,
Yeah.
and it was just, bro, it was just like overwhelming, bro. Like she didn't want to see me. She didn't want to lose me again,
Yeah.
even though we were still trying to build. So when I'm having this conversation with my friend, I completely forgot about that conversation with my daughter. So here I am contemplating, bro, for like a whole day. And I'm just, pros and cons. And
Yeah.
it's like, and then it hit me, bro, like, damn, my daughter, bro. Call my guy, like, hey, that shit's dead. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude said he got rid of it.
Right.
And I didn't make that move, bro. And, you know, one of the best choices I've ever made.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah,
man. No,
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
God has a way of using even a moment like that,
Yeah,
from your daughter. Like maybe somebody else wouldn't have been able to reach you, but just man, her, like you
yeah.
mentioned, maybe the relationship wasn't as close before that moment,
Yep.
but I'm sure that just that man, her maybe seeing something in your eye or hearing something in your voice. So like,
Yeah.
man, it sounds like he's thinking about doing this. So and
Yeah.
man, thank God for that moment. Now you want to share like maybe let's fast forward to what you're doing now. You want to share how you got into to what you're doing now? Like what was those first steps? I guess.
So, bro, like I ended up doing I was doing Uber,
Okay.
that was like a whole nother little story, but I ended up doing Uber because I figured it was more than, first of all, I didn't know that you could do it, but I seen somebody I was locked up with an Uber sticker in his car, and I was like,
Okay.
damn, bro, you could do Uber. He's like, yeah, man, they just go off your conviction date, not your release date, and they only go back 7 years. So
Okay. Yeah.
so I was like, so next thing you know, I was like, I need to go get a car to do Uber. Like, it's like
Right.
got to be a newer car. I couldn't use the Astro van. So I started doing Uber, and It paid way better, than where I was at. So one day I get an address and the address looks familiar. I was like, where the fuck, where do I know this address from, man? So I'm getting closer. I pull up to the building. It's the halfway house that I was
Oh,
staying
no
at
way.
before. So then there's this big dude that gets into my car and I see where he's going. He's going to Little Village and he's coming probably to see his probation officer here or something. I'm like, so when you're in the feds, you kind of you hear about who's over at this joint, hey,
Okay.
who's over there from Chicago? Because,
Yeah, yeah,
with
yeah.
the feds is we're people from all over the country. So all the Chicago guys kind of like, oh yeah, there's two SDs in
Yeah,
Wisconsin
yeah,
over
yeah.
there. There's some more SDs in Terre Haute. There's no Kings. Yeah, there's such and such from Little Village, such and such from Humboldt Park. Uh, so I always heard about this guy named Tiny, and Tiny wasn't a tiny
Yeah,
guy.
yeah,
Tiny was
yeah.
a big guy, So
Yo.
he was in Greenville, and his brother was in Minnesota with me. But I never got to meet him personally. Just like pretty sure, like I heard about the guys over there. They heard about who was over.
Yeah, yeah.
So then I seen the address and we're driving and I was just like, hey, what is this place? Just wanted to see like if he wanted to, because maybe he didn't want, people to know.
Yeah.
So I kind of like let him tell me, oh, this, but he was open. He's like, oh, this the halfway house, bro. I was in the joint, this, that, and the other. And I was like, hey, you got a brother named such and such? And he looked at me like, yeah, how you know? I'm like, bro, I was in Sandstone with him, this, that, and the other. So he like, oh, damn, for real? And I tell my wife, like, everybody that was locked up together, it doesn't matter what gang you were
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
It's like when you get out, it almost seems like everybody's kind of rooting for each other
Yeah.
because you shared that experience
Yo.
together and everybody, what, like if he gets out next week, I know kind of got an idea what he's going through. So
Yeah.
I want to see him make it, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Because I
yeah.
know it's rough. Uh, so he was right away like, man, my brother runs this violence prevention program, Little Village, and he's the supervisor. And they just got a grant, bro, and they need somebody to work in the SD's neighborhood. They don't got nobody over there. And I had just seen the video of his brother, Benny and George.
Okay.
I seen the video that the Tribune did like a small documentary on him, and I had seen it on Facebook
Right.
like a few weeks earlier. So when he told me, I was kind of familiar what he was talking about. And I remember when I seen that video, I'm like, man, that's dope, bro.
Yeah.
I'm like I like what they're doing, uh, I liked it. I like
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
seen. So when he told me, I was like, oh, for real? He's like, yeah, yeah, man. Here's my brother's number. Call him. Tell him I told you to call him. And so then I was just like, all right, man, like I'll give him a call, just keep my options open, see what's
Right,
going
right.
on. And uh, so I ended up calling him. He ended up calling me in. I did the interview. I ended up getting hired, bro. And so I got hired like on a Wednesday.
No, no, was that through New Life
New
Centers?
Life
Yeah,
Centers,
yeah.
yeah. So I got hired on a Wednesday. I got the job offer on Wednesday. They're like, yeah, just let us know if you accept or not by Monday. So now I'm on the fence, like, man, do I really want to go back in the neighborhood? Because I'm gonna have to, my job was gonna be to like engage the youngsters that are
Yeah.
gang involved. So since I've been out, I've been kind of trying to avoid the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Now I gotta dive in.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like weighing it, right. And I'm at my friend's house, the one I told you I was met at the other New Life.
Oh, right, right.
My friend
North
that I
side.
went to high school with,
Yeah.
and we used to have a lot of conversations, bro. And like I do real estate too.
Okay.
I had just got back into real estate. I was doing an investment project, and I'm now like, okay, eventually, if things go as planned, eventually I'm gonna be okay financially, right? I should be on my way where I'm gonna be okay. But then it hit me again, like I know I didn't go through everything that I went through just to come home and do real estate
Gotcha.
because I was doing real estate even before I got locked up. Uh, so then I was like, I had told him, I was like, man, you know what I've been praying for, bro? I've been asking God to like, man, give me a purpose. Like, what's my purpose? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? And what's my gifts? Like, everybody has a gift, bro. Like, this guy's good mechanic. This guy's could draw good. This guy, man, what do I do? Like, I don't know what my gift is, you know,
Right.
like I don't have no gift, man. Like maybe let me learn one or something.
Yeah, yeah.
So then I had told them that that I wanted to, that I was thinking about uh working over there, but then I was like, yeah, I don't know, like I don't know if I want to take the job, man. So then he's like, bro, what are you talking about? Man, just last week you were telling me like you were asking God for a purpose, man. Well, this is him answering you, bro. Like, bro, go over there and pour into them shorties, man. Like, and don't worry about that other stuff, bro. Like, you're protected.
Amen.
And then I was like, I'm like, all right. And then when I left, I was just like, man, yeah, I still don't know, man.
Yeah.
You know, I still don't know. Cause again, it's just like I know what I'm gonna have, what I'm gonna be dealing with,
Yeah.
right? These little wild ass shorties that don't care about who I am. And
Right.
here I come trying to with some positive stuff. And yeah, I'm from the same neighborhood. But they don't know me. Like I'm an
Right.
old head and they probably never even heard of me.
Yeah.
And so again, this is how God works, bro. It's like early Friday morning. I just did an Uber ride downtown. I dropped somebody off like on Jackson in Michigan. So I'm parked, waiting to see like who's gonna call me
Right.
next.
Right.
And a Jeep turns the corner fast, bro, and smashes into my car. Wrecks my car while I'm parked.
Get out of here.
So now it's like you don't got a choice. You got to go take that job because you need a job because you can't do Uber without a car. And I was just like, I'm like, all right, God, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
So,
first you,
so, so even in the midst of that, you see the positive, huh?
yeah, yeah. So I'm like, all right, I guess you want me to go work over there, you know? So, and then I'm like, I'll go work for a couple weeks. And if I don't like it, my car should be ready in 2 weeks or in a week or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
whatever. And if I don't like it, I'll just go do Uber again. So I still got like an exit.
Yeah, yeah.
Bro, I took it to like the worst body shop. They took like 2 months with my car because even when I started the job, like I was still like, it was a little nerve wracking. Like,
Yeah.
damn, man, like the first few weeks, like you just shadowed, like I just shadowed like Benny and George and
Yeah.
see what they do and get the idea.
Is that a little
A little
village? What they were
village,
doing? Okay,
a
right.
little village, bro. So
Now, how was that for you? Like being out there? Because I know, like growing up where you grew up at, that's like the opposite neighborhood, right? Where you're hanging
yeah,
out now.
so I tell people all the time about that experience, right? It was crazy because people talk about like the boundaries, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not from Chicago or if you're not really like in that life, you don't understand like how real those boundaries are. And those boundaries were real for me.
Yeah.
I didn't go over there. Again, I wasn't the type of guy that just go like looking for
Right.
trouble
Right.
because you don't have to in Chicago. Like trouble's gonna find you,
Yeah.
so you don't need to go look for
Right.
it.
Right.
So I never been inside those neighborhoods
Yeah.
before, ever in my life. So now when I'm shadowing Benny, like, one day I'm with Benny, so we're like over by the Latin Kings and we're in the car and then we know he's driving me through like Drake and Trumbull. And then one time we had to like pull over and we had to go like to one of the shorties' cribs or whatever. And they're like, all right, cool. Like, and he parked the car and he gets out and I was like, and I just stood in the car. He's like, come on, bro. Like,
Yeah.
we gotta, and I was like, oh, you want me to get out? Bro, it felt crazy.
Yeah.
I remember like looking at the sidewalk, like I never stepped on this
Yeah.
sidewalk
Yeah.
before,
Yeah. I
ever.
gotcha.
And then the same thing happened. And the next day I'm over with George by the 2-6,
Right.
same thing. He got me like walking around. I'm like, and George like to walk around even more than Benny. So I'm just like, hope nobody recognizes me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, it's like first of all, I
Right.
never came over here. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
I ain't been home in over 10 years. So
Right.
like
Right.
I was tripping. But if
But still, it's funny because when you got here, I know I joked around about having PTSD in certain neighborhoods and areas, but that's one area I never went to either. Like
yeah,
I knew, like no, and you're talking about 26th Street. Like
yeah,
I never went past California.
yeah,
Like I
yeah.
never went
Nah,
over
it was
because you
crazy.
knew that, like you mentioned, it was like a boundary. Like man,
Yeah,
I
you
only went
go.
by 2-4 Washington, 18
Yeah,
and Cal, but I knew like man, never,
nah, you
never
go.
go over there unless you
You
knew
gonna
what
get
you.
what you're looking for.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you definitely gonna find what you're looking for over there.
So you're shadowing them, and then what's next?
So then, after a few weeks, uh, it's like, all right, now you're on your own. go to the neighborhood. So I think if my car would have been fixed in a week, I think I would have quit.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know what? This is too uncomfortable for me.
Right.
So me and my friend, uh, the one I told you, that I met, my homie from high
Yeah. Yeah.
school, we always talk about how, you know, you have to be uncomfortable in order to grow.
Yeah.
And you know how God's gonna put you in uncomfortable situations when He wants you to start growing.
Amen.
And how if I would have had my car, it was uncomfortable for me. I think I would have quit and I just would have went back to driving Uber. But again, I couldn't do Uber in the rental car because it wasn't my car.
Right.
And it took 2 months for them, literally 2 months for them to give me my car back. So it gave me enough time to where, like, you're here. You're not gonna go nowhere.
Right.
Like, I got you here for a reason. So, going to the neighborhood and just, reaching out to the youngsters that I did know. Like, I had a nephew that hang around with some little knuckleheads, and that was kind of like the first person I reached out to. Like, hey
Okay.
man, this is what I'm trying to do, bro. You think you can gather like 4 or 5 of your friends, and I don't even know what I'm really supposed to do, bro. But when we just hang out and just talk about what's going on in the neighborhood and how I can help, and then that's how it started. I went and I ended up going to the alternative high school in the neighborhood.
Okay.
And that's kind of like, once you get thrown out of school, that's where they send you, unfortunately. And all the youngsters that I was trying to reach, it's like God gathered them for me and put
Gotcha.
them at the school. So when I got there and, the principal at the time was cool enough to let me come in and talk to them, I told them straight up, I was like, hey, look, man, uh, I'm working for this place over in Little Village. They got a lot of resources and stuff for you guys over here in this side of the neighborhood. And I would like to bring them to you. I'm trying to start this program, and I just want to know, like, if you guys will help me build this program,
Okay.
because I can't do it without you guys. And they gave me a shot, bro.
Man.
They gave me a shot, man. And next thing you know, like, you know, started building relationships, and it was a filling out process, more on their end, just to
Right.
fill me out to see who I am. And then next thing you know, like, hey man, my uncle knows you. Hey, my dad says he knows you. You used to be from over here, right? Yeah, he told me about you. And I was like, all right. So
Okay.
it started coming out,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
my
Yeah.
background, because I just mentioned to him, like, I used to be
Right.
over here
Around here. Yeah.
back in my day, but, like, and that was it,
Right.
but it's just like I'm coming here like this. And then even when I got more comfortable around them and they got comfortable around me, they used to be trying to call me folks. Hey, folks. And
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so I had to, hey,
No.
look,
No. No.
bro,
Yeah.
look, I'm just letting y'all know right now, like, I'm a neutron.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what I used to be is what I used to
Right.
be.
Right.
Like, I ain't on that no more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So just like, don't think that I like you calling me that.
Right. Right. Right.
I'm not angry at you. I get like you're trying to be almost like showing me love, kind of,
Nah.
right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get where you're coming from, but like, it's not that, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not an SD, bro. I'm coming here as me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And my history is my history. I'm not running from it. I'm not hiding from it. Uh, but this is what I'm on,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they got it. And it almost became it became like a good relationship, bro, because they understood, like, uh I'm not with just one of your friends. I got love for you, but I'm not trying
Right.
to fit in with you.
Yeah.
There's a purpose of why we're meeting, getting together.
Gotcha. Yeah.
We're not just here to hang out with you and I want you to think I'm cool. Like, nah, like, I'm trying to get you guys prepared for life.
Right.
Because life is hard, bro. Like, and you're gonna figure it out, unfortunately, sooner or later. And I just want you to know that you got somebody that cares about you
Yeah.
and that's gonna help you however I can, and that somebody that you can count on. And you're gonna learn that just by getting to know me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and just following through on that, bro. And again, word started spreading, and they started bringing their friends around, and next thing we connected with the youngsters over there, bro, doing whatever we can to help them, helping
Okay.
them find jobs, helping them get their IDs, their license, helping them fill out resumes, giving them a right to the job interview, going with them to court,
Man.
letting the judge know when he's in this a mentorship program, and just trying to walk side by side with them, bro,
Right,
and
right.
just letting them know and just coming at them from a different angle that nobody else probably could come at them with, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So how long do you feel it took you to finally dig in, like to finally say, man, this is what I should be doing?
Man, I think, once I started building that relationship with them,
Right,
and it was funny, bro. It was funny. It was like almost like perfect timing. Uh, because even though they're 17 years old, I'm damn near 40. We're both trying to start our life over.
right.
They're just starting life because they're so young. I'm starting life again because like everything that I was before is no more. So now I'm building myself. I'm trying to figure out life.
Yeah,
They're 17, 18 years old trying to figure out life. So it's almost like it almost felt like we're in this together.
yeah.
Like that darkness you feel, bro, that loneliness you feel, I'm here with you, bro, because I feel the same way. And just however you might need me, like I need you too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was good for me too,
Okay.
and I learned a lot from them. I got to like learn their environment. I never came at them like, bro, this how things used to be, and
Yeah, yeah.
let me tell you how it should be out here. And then, nah, I never came at them like I'm just constantly just like learning from them, and then just kind of like once I'm gathering that information, I kind of got a better idea like I can approach what they're doing, and that's kind of like how the whole thing with Love City started.
Okay.
So one of them used to be, I heard him rapping, and I'm thinking he's like rapping somebody else's song that's out
Yeah, yeah.
already. And he's like, I'm like, hey bro, like what song is that? It sounds decent. And he's like, oh, that's me. Well, I'm like, what? Like, man, get out of here. He's like, yeah. I'm like, how long you been rapping? He's like, man, I've been rapping since I was like 7 years old. And I'm like, man, you bullshitting. He's like, nah, like I got a whole notebook full of raps. And then a few days later, he showed it to me.
Right.
And he used to hang out with my son. He was one of my
Okay.
son's friends, so they were in school together. So he used to come over. But my son used to be at his grandma's house. And so now I'm like, if you're around my son, I really need to know what you're on, like
Yeah.
so then I was just like, man, before I got locked up too, like we had like a record label and everything. Like we
Oh, yeah.
had like Do or Die signed to us
Oh,
and
no way.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember Do
So
or Die. They were big back then,
yeah,
man. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I was familiar with the whole like music
Yeah.
industry type. I had a brief experience in that. So then I told him, man, you ever been in the studio? And he's like, no. So I was like, man, I knew of a guy that was doing youth mentorship through music. So
Okay.
he had a studio that he would let the youngsters come and record. He'd record them, and it was free,
Okay.
but it was on the south side. It was on 47th to King Drive. So then I was like, man, I'm gonna take you to the studio. So I would take him over there. So it was pretty cool to like watch him like meet other young people from different parts of the city.
Right.
They're all there like trying to do something creative. And so then I gave him a goal, like, man, if you record X amount of songs, we'll pick the best one and I'll get a video done for you. So then like he lived up to his end of the bargain.
Right.
So then I was like, damn, I gotta do my part now. So I'm thinking I'm gonna pay somebody $200-$300.
Yeah.
Like I could afford that, it'll hurt my pocket a little bit, but it's worth it.
Right,
I
right.
want to give these guys something to like get into other than the negative stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, so then uh, I started calling like video producers, and they want like $700, $1,000. I'm like, damn, bro, I don't sell drugs no more. Like, I can't pay for that. Like, I
Yeah,
got a
yeah, yeah.
regular job.
Right,
And
right.
so then a friend of mine's that I knew from the music business days, he's doing marketing and promotion at the
Okay.
time. So I remember him telling me about how good the phones and the cameras were, right? And he was telling me how they shot a music video one time in Atlanta just on the fly. So then I remember I was like, I gotta get this video done.
Right.
I can't pay for it. And remember he told me about a video with a phone, and so I called him. So he's like, yeah, man, you need an iPhone. Like I got an iPhone. You need a laptop, and just bring it. I'll put the editing software. So he gave me the software, and it's like, all right, cool. Now I gotta learn how to use it.
Right, right.
So like I was telling you earlier about the podcast stuff, like I watched a bunch of YouTube videos, and I ended up one of my coworkers at the time at New Life.
Okay.
He was getting married, and he had a photographer and videographer. So one my other coworker, his friend, mentioned to the photographer video guy, like, hey, my coworker's trying to start like a digital media program and to work with the youngsters. You think you could like help him?
Right.
Just teach, like, what does he need? Like, oh, he just trying to learn how to edit. And yeah, tell him to call me, stop by. So I called him. He gave me some tips every time I got stuck, because I would just go like on my own. I didn't want to bother him.
Right.
He's running a business, and I know, like, I'm not trying to take no money out of your pocket because
Yeah.
you're helping me.
Yeah.
Uh, so he like, nah, if I got some free time, you just come by. 10 minutes, I'll just show you. So I would get stuck, and I'd come, and I'm like, hey, bro, look, I'm stuck right here. I don't know what to do. And he's like, oh, look, this how you do it. Boom, boom, boom. I'll be on my way. I'll back at it. So then I started shooting the youngsters' videos, and obviously, like, they were terrible at first, and started getting better though.
Right. Right.
And now youngsters from other neighborhoods, because we're putting up on YouTube,
Okay.
they're like hitting me up saying, hey, bro, can you shoot my video? I'm like, damn, for real? So now I'm working with like different youngsters from different neighborhoods, and we're doing this all for free, bro. Like, I'm
Oh,
not
no way.
charging nobody, nothing. Like, I'm using it as a tool. I'm like I got a hook now,
Yeah.
like, because now we're working on your music, whatever. But I really want to talk to you about life,
Okay.
So, but it's hard to just come, hey, come here, youngster, let me
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
to
No.
you,
Right. Gotcha.
So now it's
That's
in
like the hook, like
yeah, yeah,
to
yeah,
reel
yeah,
them in.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So now, in the midst of us shooting a video, on our way to the shoot or whatever, on the drive to the studio, now we can talk about life, and now they're more comfortable. They're opening up, you know, telling me what's really going on with them. So now I
Yeah.
can see like what I can do for them, if I could do anything. But now at least like I know what's going on with them, and yeah, and then that thing is just, we started getting better. The word started getting out, like, hey, this guy's shooting videos for free, like, and so now I got youngsters from like North Lawndale, Austin, Humboldt Park, Belmont, Craig, Brighton Park. Now they're all reaching out. A lot of these youngsters, they trying to rap.
Right.
And so now it's just like, man, we got something here. Like, we got to name it something.
Okay.
So then I was just like, I just came up with the name, like, Luv City. I remember back in our days, like, everything was love, like D Love,
Yeah.
Amber
Yeah.
Love,
Yeah.
King
Yeah. Yeah.
Love.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
was just like, it's Love City.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how I looked at it.
Okay.
Like all different types of that. But now this is gonna mean something different.
Yeah, that's pretty cool design. Like the heartbeat. That's like
Yeah.
the yeah. Yeah.
So then when I first told the youngsters like Love City, they're like, man, that shit sounds weak as hell, bro. You should have named it No Love City. So
Right. Right.
so then I was just like, yeah, we got enough of that, bro.
No.
Like,
Yeah. Right.
we need some more of this. And this is what this is about.
Yeah.
Like I'm down with like shooting your videos, and I don't agree with most of the stuff you're saying in the song, but I'm gonna meet you halfway. You know what I'm saying? So like I'll do this for you. It's kind of like what I need. I need what I need from you. Sometimes what I need from you is for you. You don't even know it. Like, I need you to come to school, bro. If I ask you to come to school, just come to school.
Right. Right.
Because now they're seeing, now the school's taking notice, the alderman's taking notice, the church is taking notice. Like, damn, like this guy's actually dealing with some of the hardest people to deal with in the
Yeah.
neighborhood. And, he got a relationship with them. And, so they started like, certain people know the value, like,
Right.
so now, and that's kind of, I was telling them, like, look, this is what I'm gonna do for you. This is what I need you to do for me.
Yeah.
If they're acting up in school and the principal comes to talk to me, I come in like, Mary, when you need me, I got you, right? Man, I need something from you, bro.
Yeah.
What you need? Man, I need you to chill out, bro. I need you to just chill out, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know, but that teacher's a bitch, and I get it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I get it, but if the dean is telling you don't be in the hallway, that's his job. It's kind of his job.
Right.
And I know you're not feeling it. I know what you think about him personally, but that's kind of what he's supposed to do. And you're in the school, bro. Like, we're not on the block. You know what I'm saying? And like, you mess with me, right? Like, yeah, I mess with you, Dre. Like, well, that's what I need. Just chill out, bro. Just chill out for a couple days, man. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that's kind of how it would work, And so the teachers would be like, even though they might start acting up again two,
No.
three
Right.
days
Right.
later,
Right.
but they know at least I was able to kind of like, at least for that, diffuse the
Right.
situation for that brief moment. And
and at least you have like open door, like access communication with these guys
yeah,
where they probably can't reach them though, like the way you're doing, you know.
yeah. So yeah, man, and it just ended up turning to that. And like again, I was doing real estate. I went and got my real estate license when I found out that I could get it.
Okay.
Because as long as you never had like no violent conviction, and since I never got convicted for the stuff I told you about
Right, right.
before, and my federal case was a drug conspiracy. Uh, it wasn't like for fraud or nothing. I was able to get uh, go take my real estate test.
Nice.
So I took the class, took the test. I didn't think I passed the test when I took it, but then they came like, "Hey, you passed." I'm like, "Oh." So I got my license. I'm working on my first deal. I get a letter from the licensing board from the state of Illinois telling me to cease and desist, and I got to come in and talk to them because of my background. So I go in there, bro, and they're grilling me. I feel like I'm back under investigation. They're asking me about
I-
my case.
Is this like a panel?
A panel.
Yeah, you know what? I heard another podcast. Somebody, I think it was in California. Same thing happened to him. He was trying to do it, and he
Yeah.
almost like you had to plead a case to.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So they're like, it's a 3-person panel. They're grilling me. They're grilling me about my case. It says here you're moving X amount of drugs. How often were you doing that? How many times a week were you doing that? And I'm like, I wasn't prepared for those
Yeah,
questions. I was prepared for like, what have you been doing since you come home? I was
yeah,
ready to tell
yeah.
them about that. And I'm looking, I was just like, and one guy, bro, he was just like, had it in for me. Like, I don't think you understand why you're here. You're here to convince us why we should give you a license. We don't have to give you a license. And so I don't think you're taking this serious. And then I had to explain to him, like, I got upset, bro. And again, I was just like, let me calm down because he got the upper hand on me right
Yeah, oh
now.
yeah.
So, and I was just like, I'm like, look, I'm not trying to avoid your questions, but you're asking me about some stuff that happened over 10 years ago that I don't think about anymore. So I'm trying to remember about what was going on back then so I could answer your questions. So then I started like answering their questions, and then they made me step out the room. And bro, I was like, oh my God, like I went through this whole class and took this test. I paid this money, and I'm thinking like this is like a new opportunity for me, and now they're gonna take it from me.
Right.
Uh, so then they brought me back in the room. They're like, we're gonna give you your license, and I was still on federal probation.
Oh man.
So they're like, we're not even gonna put you on probation because you're already on probation. So there was a white dude, a Latina. She was from Humboldt Park too, and this white lady. So the white lady walked me out. When I seen the Latina, I was like, "Oh, I'm good. I got somebody in my corner." The, the white lady's walking me out. She's telling me like she didn't want to give you your license. She was opposed to it, but I told her like you've been doing good,
Right.
and and I'm the one that told him like he doesn't need to be on probation. It doesn't make any sense. He's already on
Right.
probation. So then I was like, damn man, she was trying to like
Yeah.
she's it was like it's crazy. It's just like man, it'd be like how they say, be your own people.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Because
But
they know us,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. So
I
she
know, it's a guy like that.
yeah, she said it like
Oh yeah,
I know the problems
yeah,
the gangs bring to a neighborhood, and I
yeah.
know you're probably part of that. So whatever. So I got my license. I ended up closing on the deal, and so now I had like some extra money at the time, and I had reached my limit with the iPhone. Now I'm seeing like other videographers. They got their nice cameras,
Yeah.
and I was telling my guy, bro, like how do I make my video look like that? What I got to do? And he's like, well, you got to get a real camera. How much does it cost? And so I had just when the deal I closed on, bro, like, I think it was like $7,000 commission.
Okay.
I spent all of it. I'm like, I want my stuff to look like that. Tell me what I need for my stuff to look like that. And he's like, man, how much money you got? I'm like, man, I got $7,000. Is that enough? Oh yeah, hell yeah, we get you started for
Right. Right.
sure. So I bought like camera, lens, stabilizer, and lights, and whatever else I needed.
Right. Right.
I needed a better laptop because the
Okay.
one I started with, it wasn't powerful enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like it like froze up on me. So I needed like a bigger, stronger laptop.
Right. Right.
Uh, so I invested, and obviously I had to like run it past my wife, and I was just like, hey, look, now it sounds crazy, but I'm about to spend all this money on this camera
Right.
stuff, and like it's not part of our budget anyways. Like we
Right. Right.
weren't, we weren't expecting, this wasn't part of the plan. It's just, I happened to come up on this deal, I made
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
extra money, and I really believe in what I'm doing. Uh, and it gave me an opportunity to like tap back into my creative side
Okay.
that I hadn't done since I was a
Yeah.
youngster.
Yeah. Yeah. Going back to the
So,
beginning. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Gotcha.
So it was just like I loved everything what it was about. Like I get to be creative again,
Right.
visual. I knew everything was about these phones now, and that was another thing that I used to ask myself, like all these youngsters are on these phones, like how do we get into the phone to reach them? Like we're not in here.
Right.
Yeah, we're doing basketball programs, softball and all that, but there's a lot of them that aren't here
Yeah. Yeah.
and we're not here. So how do we get in here? So I don't know how, but we got to get in there.
Yeah.
So then like the whole video thing, I'm like, man, I'm in here now.
Nice.
Like, hey, now you're seeing me. Now you're calling me,
Right.
texting Instagram, hey, bro, like, want to shoot a video? And here's another thing that we dealt with that kind of set us apart. So obviously, I don't know how familiar you are with like the culture here in the city with the drill music and everything. Everybody seems like everybody has a gun in their video.
Yeah.
Sometimes 10 guns in their video. So that was one thing where like I was already conflicted about what these youngsters were talking about in their songs, right? But again, it's like I'm gonna meet you halfway. But this is where I draw the line. Can't put no guns in the video. Oh, come on, Dre, man. Everybody puts, man, come on. Nah, bro, like, can't do it. Like, defeats kind of like everything what I'm trying to do here.
Gotcha.
You know, I know you got guns on you. Like, I'm not okay with it, but I came and met you when you were already doing that.
Right.
We're trying to fix that. But I can't let you, I can't be a part of you encouraging you to come and wave your gun around for the whole world to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and my thing is like, if if you know, you know. If you're really doing that, people in the neighborhood, they already know. You don't need to like
Yeah.
show
Yeah.
them.
Right.
And so there was a lot of people that uh didn't shoot with us because of that. Because once I got the camera, stuff changed. People were willing to pay me now.
Right.
And I'll pay you. And I didn't know what to charge. So I'm charging like really cheap.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm getting flooded. And I was like, damn, now we're getting too much work. Like, so now it's just like, I think I'm charging too
Yeah.
cheap.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then there was a lot of people that didn't shoot with us because of that, because of the no guns, but
Right.
it's
Right.
something that we stood on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't care like you think I'm corny or like
Right.
whatever, bro, but
Old
nah.
head. Hey, would you
Yeah.
say old head
I'm an
earlier?
old head, bro. Like, hey, I'm not on that,
No, no,
bro.
but you're
And
you got a different path or vision that you're on. You know,
yeah,
like
and I'm already knowing how the feds could use this if they really wanted to. Like if they really to
oh
come
yeah,
get you and they see you in a video with a gun, bro, they'll play this at your sentencing.
oh yeah,
You're not getting charged with this, but there's something called like mitigating factors and enhancements that they could use as sentencing. They can play this video for the judge when he's considering how much
yeah,
time to
yeah,
give
yeah,
you. So on top of the time that your charge brings, he's gonna look at that and he can add on a few more years
yeah,
because
yeah,
of that. If he sees like how reckless you are out here. So I'm not gonna be a part of that. I know you probably don't understand it, but trust me, bro, like I'm doing you a
yeah,
favor.
yeah,
So that ended up happening. And but then eventually people started getting the hint, like they already know, like Love City don't put guns in his videos.
right,
So they kind of understood what the whole brand was about.
gotcha,
We out here trying to show love. We're not with nothing, none of this goofy stuff out here. We're not gonna let you disrespect nobody on any video we shoot.
right,
You're not gonna disrespect somebody that died or go.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
respectfully, we're not gonna be part of that. Uh, so so then we didn't. We ended up like not being able to shoot with a lot of people. There was one story that because now I'm assuming everybody knows, right? So one day, me and my son, we show up. Remember when we showed up to the G Nizzo's house when we pulled up? So we pull up to this, we got booked for a shoot and we're on the west side. This guy's on house arrest and we get there and the music's going already. Like they're having a party, like they're almost like pre-gaming to the
yeah,
videos,
yeah, yeah,
trying to get the energy up. We walk in, bro. I swear I'm not lying to you. It must have been like 10 guys with 10 guns in there and like like big ass guns, choppers, and guns with big old clips on them. And I looked at Dre, my son. I was like, damn, I forgot to tell him, man, like no guns in the video, because I'm thinking like
Yeah,
everybody
yeah,
knows.
yeah, yeah,
So then I was like, I'm like, hey, bro, let me holler at you. So now I'm thinking like, man, he's in here with all these guns, all his homies. He might get mad,
yeah.
like because
Or
they're ready.
you're gonna shoot this video.
They're yeah, right, right. So it's
Yeah,
like I was just like, I'm like, hey, let me holler at you. He's like, what's up, bro? I was like, hey, listen, man, like my bad, bro. Like I don't put guns in my videos, bro. Like I'll give you a deposit back right now. I apologize, bro. That's on me. I should have told you.
right.
Oh, what? I'm like, yeah, bro. Man, you can't. I can't do it, bro. I can't. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, man. I told everybody bring their shit to the house, man. Like, so everybody from the neighbor brought their gun with them, and then like, man, I apologize, bro. I'm sorry, bro. Like I said, man, I'm gonna give your money back. I'm gonna cash app you right now. And he's like, nah, man. We gonna shoot this video. So now I'm thinking like, bro, like, where you going with this?
Yeah.
He turns around. Hey, man, everybody put the guns up, man. No guns in the video. He's like, we gonna shoot the video, bro. I ain't gonna make you come out here for nothing, bro.
Okay.
Like, and he honored it, bro. He
Oh yeah.
respected it, and it was just like it was a memorable moment, bro. Like, and we shot a video, and
Right.
he loved it. I'm like, and afterwards, I'm like, bro, you see how the video's still good even without that, like. And we ended up shooting more videos after that, and then I ended up getting shooting up for videos for a bunch of his friends,
Okay.
and they already knew what time it
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
Like,
right, right.
yeah, you don't put video guns in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
videos,
yeah.
but they like, man, the videos are still good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I was just telling them like, that's where the creative part comes in. Like,
Right.
you can still deliver that energy without that. You just
Right.
got to get more creative. So yeah, man. Now everybody got a better idea of like who we are, what we're about, and how we're just trying to bring love to the city, bro. Like, neighborhood by neighborhood,
Right,
and
right.
and through digital media, and now we're getting into films. So
Okay.
yeah, so we're doing that now, and I ended up turning Love City into a nonprofit last year,
Okay.
because like a lot of people from the community started like supporting what I was doing. The alderman, the school principal, uh, and the other community like leaders were just really like respected what I was doing, and
Right.
they all kept telling me like, how can we help you? How can we help you? How can we help you? Because they seen like I wasn't like getting no funding from nobody, and because by this time I wasn't at New Life no more. I had
Okay.
left. I left right before I bought my camera. I had already left New Life because I was trying to do the program there, and I guess like they didn't understand it.
Yeah, maybe they didn't catch the vision that
Yeah,
you
they
had.
they
Yeah,
ain't
yeah.
they ain't see it right, and they were basically like, that's cool if you want to do that,
Right.
but we don't got no budget for that,
Yeah, yeah, I gotcha.
and as long as you keep doing the work you're supposed to be doing for us, and I'm just, I ain't gonna lie, I was a little frustrated. Like, man, I see the budgets y'all got. You guys could carve out a little bit.
Yeah.
Let me try this. But I get it. It's like I told my homie, like, it's their house. You can't tell them how to run their house. You
Yeah.
gotta respect it. If not, you don't have to be there.
Right.
So I knew I was never gonna I knew I was never gonna get the opportunity to try it if
Right.
I stood there.
Yeah, yeah.
So then I left. So now I'm like literally doing Love City on my own. And again, it was uncomfortable because like I'm leaving a steady paycheck to go and try this.
Yeah.
Because now by then we're getting booked enough to where like, we're making some
Yeah,
money.
yeah, yeah. Gotcha.
And then at the same time, St. Paul Church, the Catholic Church in Pilsen, like, man, why don't you come work with us? And we don't really have no resources for you, but we can give you like a small salary. And I'm like, oh, that'll help, because that combined with what I'm
Yeah.
like
With your
bringing in over here,
yeah.
I can make it until I figure out what I'm gonna do. And then every now and then I'm landing like some real estate deals. So I was like, I'll
Yeah,
survive.
yeah, yeah.
But it was uncomfortable because it was nothing steady. It was just like, again, it's just like I got faith, like it's gonna work out.
Yeah.
So now the community leaders kept telling me like, so who's funding you? Like, where you getting money from? Because there's tons of like grant opportunities, and I was like, nobody. Like, I'm doing it myself. Like, well, we got to get you some help. So the alderman helped me connect with a few people in the neighborhood, and they were like, uh, we need to start a nonprofit. I'm like, cool, what are we gonna call it? They're like, we're gonna call it Luv City. I'm like, I'm thinking I'm just gonna help them build a
Yeah, yeah,
nonprofit for
yeah.
the neighborhood. And they're like, we're gonna call it Luv City and you gotta be the executive director. I'm like, what? I was like, for real? Like, yeah, it has to be. It has to be what you've been doing,
Right.
you know? 'Cause that's why we're all here.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I was like, all right, if you guys believe in me to do it,
Yeah, yeah.
I just ask one thing of you guys, like, if you guys are gonna help me build this, I need y'all to stick around for a little bit. Don't help me build it and then go live your life, and then I don't have the experience to hold this thing together,
Yeah, yeah.
and it falls apart. Because I think that'll do more harm than us not even trying it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because then it'll be like you tried and you failed, and then now it's like, see, I don't even know why you tried that. You know, how
Right,
people
right.
from
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
neighborhood
I
are
got you.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
man, who do you think you were trying to start something? You know, like. So then I told them, like, man, if you guys can commit to sticking around at least for a year or two, like I catch on quick.
Yeah.
I know what I know, and most importantly, I know what I don't know, and
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
how to go find somebody that does know it.
Gotcha.
So give me some time to like build my support, and at that point, I hope you guys still want to stay. But if not, like, it's cool, you did your part.
Yeah.
Uh, so then we know we established a nonprofit. We started applying for grants, bro, and we got a big grant from the state last year. So we got a grant for $650,000, bro, to like buy all the equipment that we need, to pay myself a salary, to provide youth programming for the
Man.
youngsters. All the youngsters that come through a program, they get a stipend, so they get paid. So they get paid to come learn. We got money to hire instructors. We partner with this theater company called Teatro Vista.
Okay.
So they come, they're professionals. They're like the only Latino-owned theater company in the city, or one. I think there's another one, but they're one of the bigger ones. And so we've been able to do some like really, really good things. Uh, and that's been, again, they only funded us for a year.
Okay.
Uh, so now the uncomfortable part again, that year's about to come up again, and so now we have to reapply, and almost it's like we had to prove
Yeah, yeah.
what we're gonna do, right?
Right.
So the good thing is that we just met with them last week, and they love what we're doing, and they like told us they don't see any reason why they wouldn't keep funding us.
Gotcha.
So it's looking good.
Nice.
And again, it was just like the whole time, bro. Like, I know God been just guiding me, bro, because I
Amen.
never had any of this planned.
Yeah.
When I came home from jail, I never thought I was gonna be doing real estate again.
Right,
I
right.
never thought I was gonna be doing community work. I never in a million years would have thought I'd be like the executive director of a nonprofit. And now we about to dive into films,
Amen.
and we're gonna start like learning how to produce films and television series. And that's a big, big challenge, bro. But I seen how God's worked in my life up until this point,
Right.
bro. So like I'm not scared to try anything.
Yes.
I'm just going hard, bro. And I'm telling my son, like, sometimes I even get a little bit scared and nervous because I'm like, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, I hope I'm ready. I don't know when it's gonna happen. We just gotta keep working. And it's gonna happen when it's supposed to happen. Look at everything that's happened so far. So I believe it's gonna happen for us, bro. I believe we're gonna create like a whole new, almost open the doors to a whole new industry we never had access to here in Chicago.
Amen.
LA and New York, the film culture has already been there.
Yeah.
It's never really been here. When, anytime we get highlighted, it's people that come from out of town
Right.
to highlight what's going on here, but it's never been us. You see the big trucks filming in the neighborhood all the time, but none of those people are from the neighborhood.
Right.
So that's the goal. That's the long-term goal. Eventually, that's going to be us pulling up in those trucks, filming, telling our own stories.
Right.
When I seen 50 Cent was doing the story on the twins,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
I was mad. Like, I wasn't mad at 50. I was like, damn, bro, that's supposed to be us.
Yeah.
You know,
Chicago, telling Chicago
right,
stories.
like,
Gotcha.
yeah, so that's supposed to be us telling those stories, like, but it ain't his fault we're not in position.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so it's like, okay, we're not gonna cry about it. We're gonna get to work, and a few years from now, we should be in position to start making some noise and with this film stuff, bro.
Yes.
So, and again, bro, it's like the heart of what we do is gonna still be like the same. It's just we're doing it through film now. It's the same youngsters that are, out here in the street. I'm telling bro, come over here and hold this camera, man.
Yeah.
Come over here and act in this scene. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause I want whatever we do to feel like here, bro. Like I
Yeah.
want it to feel like the city.
Yes.
You know, I want it, the vocabulary to be the way we talk, the wardrobe be like the way we dress, and really paint that real picture of what the city is like. I want the writing, the scripts to be from us. You know, like I'm not opposed to like getting help from other people and guidance, but the final product has to be like authentic, bro.
Yeah.
And I think it is gonna like it's gonna be inspiring, bro, for other people to jump into this. Cause I know we have a lot of talent here.
Amen.
You know, so I see it all the time, and it's just getting the people to believe that it's possible. Once they believe it's possible, bro, watch out. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
Yep.
Man, and especially like what you said, man, God's come through. God's gotten you to this point. So it gives you more, I would say, more faith to
Yeah,
just
bro.
continue to push forward. And there's just the beginning, right? Like in your mind.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's what makes me nervous. Like I still, and my wife said, like, what, why you nervous? It's like, cause I don't want to mess it up.
yeah.
I know it's coming. I know he got something big planned for me, like, and I hope I do the right thing
Yeah.
with it. Cause I know, like, I used to listen to Joyce Meyer in the joint.
Okay.
I should be saying
All right.
different levels bring different
Yeah,
devils.
yeah.
Like so then I just
Gotcha.
like I always try to keep myself grounded and humble
Yeah.
and not to get like too big headed or
Yeah.
arrogant because like I already know how, how if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, like God's gonna get you right.
Oh, yeah.
And I've seen that firsthand. So I'm not trying to play with him. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm just trying to do what I'm supposed to be doing. Always trying to make sure my heart's in the right place, and everything else he's gonna take care of. He knows what I want.
Yeah.
I talk to him.
Okay.
How they I listen to TD Jakes too. He said, no, it was TD J, it was Steve Harvey. He's like, he said,
Pastor Steve Harvey.
yeah,
Okay, good.
how he said, you ask not because, no, you have not because you ask not.
Yeah.
And I heard him say that.
Yeah.
I went and had a conversation. This is what I want.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do.
Right.
And I'm gonna go to work. Now you know what I want. I'm going to work, and I know you're gonna take care of that for me.
Amen.
And I already know whenever you decide is the time. Yeah. I just got to go to work every day.
Yeah.
And the rest, I know you got it.
Right.
So then that's how I be moving, bro.
Man, nice. Hey, that's a good way to be moving now, man. Especially, man, there's nothing like I know you mentioned humility. Continue to be humble. Talk to God, praying. Seeking Him, and it's when in that conversation and that prayer, I'm sure is where you get probably direction or confirmation whether to move or not to move on something.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything that could replace that communication with God, man.
Nah, and it's almost scary. It's almost scary that because it's like almost everything that I asked for is happening in some shape or fashion. And sometimes you forget that you asked for it because, again, it doesn't happen right away.
Yeah.
Like, hey, God, I need this, and tomorrow I got it.
Right.
So sometimes it'll be years later, and it'll hit me like, damn, I remember I was praying for this.
Yeah.
I got it. And it's like, that's why I know, bro, like I know we're going to do something special, man.
Amen.
Because I prayed on it.
Yes, sir.
So experience tells me this is not going to be no different. You know, it's just it's gonna take some time, and whenever he's ready for it to be a reality, it's gonna pop off.
Amen.
We're
Amen.
gonna be there, yup.
Man, you keep doing what you're doing, brother. And I know he's gonna bless Luv City, and it's evident from what you're talking about. He's already using you to minister to them. And going back to what you shared, where your friend had to remind you, hey man, you were asking God to give you purpose.
Yeah, even that. Yeah.
And here it is. It's like it's coming to what they say, like fruition. It's
Yeah,
coming, like you're getting there, and I'm sure I can see like in your eyes, man. You get a joy
yeah,
of the work that you're doing, and like, man, like my life wasn't it didn't it wasn't a waste. Like
right.
even going through those 10 years, like
Yeah,
almost like you had to go through that
yeah.
so that you could have that, man, that change, that change your heart, change your mind, and now you could reach youth that you probably
Hmm.
see yourself in, probably some of them, right? Like,
Yeah, for sure. No, I tell people all the time, it sounds crazy. Like it was a blessing what I went through. It didn't seem like it at the time, but I would have never been in the mindset I am now if I didn't go through that. And so now it's like I'm almost grateful that I went through that. And not only that, it's like I said, bro, I'm 45 years old and I feel as youthful, as vibrant as
yeah,
I ever been in my life because I know I could just imagine what's in front of me
yeah,
and the position that got me in right now is just I'm so grateful. Now I get you know I advocate for the community all the time, right? And for the youngsters that were like that are living right now how I was living, I'm always advocating for them. Like you don't just throw them away.
right,
You know they're young, sometimes misguided. Sometimes they're not making the smartest choices. They're 16, 17 years old. They're not even all the way. Their brain ain't even all the way developed yet.
yeah,
Like you can't just disregard them. I'm showing you what's possible for them by what I'm doing right now because I was them.
yeah,
So watch me work and watch me show you what I'm capable of. So when you look at them, they got that in them too.
you know,
It's just they're young still. Give them some time.
yeah,
I tell my homie all the time, like when I go do like my real estate stuff, I'll show up like in some ripped jeans, some Air Force Ones, like a white T-shirt. Everybody in there's like in a suit,
yeah,
and I was just like, I need them to know that people that look like this do good business. Don't judge people that look like this and
right,
thinking and categorize them. Cause I feel like when every room I walk in, I'm walking in with them. They're with me. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's just me, they're in the room with me. Cause if I'm in the room, they're in the room. I tell them all the time, like whatever I have access to, whatever knowledge I got, bro, is yours. Just let me know what you need, and you got it. And you can't tell me you can't do it because I'm doing it.
right,
And you know me, right? Your uncle said he knew me,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So you know what time, you know where I come from. Even though you never heard me say it, you heard other people say it. And look what I'm doing now. So why can't you do it?
yeah,
Like it's a reality, bro. And don't ever let nobody like tell you otherwise. And that's kind of like the vibe and the energy I bring into the room, bro. Like I'm really representing for real.
yeah,
That's how I look at it. I mean, come on, bro. Like they're letting me run my own nonprofit.
yeah.
You know, like that's
That's
crazy, bro. Like who would have thought me? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just now I could really tell you, like, you can really do this
yeah,
because I'm doing it.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm saying? We're the same person. You're
yeah,
just
yeah.
20 years younger than me. I'm you. Fast forward 20 years, I'm you, bro.
You know,
You know, so like get to work.
yes,
And if you're not ready yet, let me know when you're ready because I'm gonna be right here. You know, I ain't going nowhere, bro. God willing, you know, I'm gonna be right here, hopefully in even a better position to help you, you know.
yeah.
So yeah, man, that's how I be moving.
Amen, amen. Man, hey, that's a lot of stuff that is going on with you right now, man. And thank God for what you're doing, the work that you're doing. Hey, do you have any like final words? And maybe I always ask our guests if they could like close us out in prayer as well. So
My final word is, man, go visit our website.
yeah, yeah, go ahead, man. You gotta plug it.
Go visit our website, lovecity.org, man. If you want to support what we're doing, there's different ways to support. Obviously, like there's a donate button out there if you want to support us financially. Uh, if you want to volunteer, kind of like if you have a skill or a talent that's in line with what we're doing through digital media, photography, you know, audio, visual, whatever, man, like for sure, reach out. Uh, yeah, man, and just be on the lookout for us, and help us spread the word about what we're doing. Let people know, the stuff that we got going on. And yeah, I'll close us out in prayer.
Amen, amen, brother.
I'm not a
Hey man, like you just mentioned that you talk to God. That's the same thing you got to do, man. But just do it, like for those that are listening. And I know your heart's for the youth, those that are out there. So just imagine that maybe those youth that you're already interacting with. There might be some out there, or even some men. You
yeah,
mentioned 45 years old, 50 years old, and they think, man, my life, I messed up my life. No,
nah, hell no.
like with God, that there's,
Yeah, we got
uh,
a lot of life to live, bro. Like, don't give up. Yeah, you
so
40 years old, you don't know what you're doing. Hey, I didn't know what I was doing either, and
so,
I just get to work, man. So yeah, let me pray real quick.
man,
Uh, Father God, just thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and share my story with this brother on this platform. Bless his platform. I see what he's doing out here. He has a positive message, and we need more of that, Father God. And I just ask that, that you continue to protect us and keep guiding us and lighting our path. And ask that you let people, let people see our heart more than anything. And I continue just to to ask you to keep us humble, keep us strong, keep us mentally aware, and just give us the opportunity to continue to just inspire people to do better and be better, and just help us understand that we're all human, and let's all try to be good to each other. uh Jesus' name we pray, amen.
amen, amen, Dre, amen. I just want to thank you for your time, man, for coming out here. And man, God bless you, your wife, your children. I mean, I see you even got them working, man.
Yeah.
So, hey, I know you mentioned earlier about, man, you came out, you felt like you had no family, and now He's
Hmm.
blessed you with your wife, with your kids,
Yeah,
and almost like these youth now that you're encountering.
yeah, that's
It's
my
almost like
family, bro. I
family
feel
now,
I got a bunch of nephews now.
Hey, man,
Yeah,
hey, that's
yeah,
the blessing of the Lord and the favor of the Lord. Yeah, I
for
know you
sure.
mentioned a little while ago, like, man, I didn't see myself doing this, but man, that's God's favor.
For sure.
Like, man, you prayed, and and
Yeah,
and and I believe He's blessing you because He sees your heart.
yeah.
He sees your heart to want to give, to give back, and
Hmm.
I believe that's why all this, comes to people.
Yeah, my friend always tells me that, bro. You got favor. You got favor.
Yeah, it's the favor of God,
Yeah,
man. That's one thing money can't buy. The favor
yeah,
of
for
God,
sure.
man.
Yep.
Hey, so with that, we're gonna get ready to close out. Matthew 4:16 reads, "The people who sat in darkness have seen a great light, and upon those who sat in the region and shadow of death, light has dawned." My name is Omar Calvillo. I am wrong to strong.
Hey, Dre.